Hey, what's happening, Nation? It's Joku. Really thought I was going to be doing a post-game show tonight. I was really looking forward to it, but our game got bumped till Monday. The NFL, in all actuality, had every right to move that game. It sucks. I know a lot of people are pissed about it, but don't forget this game didn't even have a time on the schedule when it was initially released. And I know a ton of people have been talking about our game last season where our entire offensive line was gone. We were supposed to be playing Sunday night, and then all of a sudden they moved our game up instead of moving it back till Monday. And I could see your guys' frustration with that because we ended up having 6 dudes on the COVID list for that game. But this Browns game is a completely different situation. At one point, they had 17 players on the COVID list, plus 3 of their coaching staff. That is an insane amount of players to be missing going into a game. I really think the only reason the nation is pissed off about this move is because they know if we play the Browns at full strength, that team is going to kick the shit out of us. And as long as the game's being played during the scheduled week that it was supposed to be, the NFL can set the time and date of whatever game they want. But I was bored tonight, and I did end up putting together a list of players that I want to see more of before this season's over. A couple of them are on the practice squad, a couple of them are on the starting 53 right now. So we're not going to waste too much time. We're going to go ahead and jump straight into these names. If you are new to the channel, if you think about subscribing, I really would appreciate that. If there's anybody that's not on my list that you want to see more of, be sure to hit me up in that comment section. We're going to start with the most obvious one of all, and it's Diablo. Go ahead and keep his ass on the field. I really want to see what he can do for us. I've talked about him in my past couple videos, so I'm not going to spend too much time with him, but that kid could end up being a major key moving forward into next season. The next pretty obvious one is Koontz. Everybody wants to see more Koontz. 2 games, back-to-back sacks in each game. Got graded incredibly high both games by PFF if you put any stock into that bullshit. But he's another kid with a ton of potential, and we're not going to see it if he doesn't end up getting snaps, so keep his ass on the field. My next player I've had a soft spot for a good minute. It's Markel Lee. I really want to see this dude have a legitimate shot. We are still banged up as shit at that linebacker position, and he has been on and off this team the past couple years. But he has never once been given a shot to go out there and get consistent reps throughout a game. Lee is one of those dudes that ends up getting lost in the shuffle of every single offseason, and that tells me one thing, that he doesn't stand out in practice. But the Raiders keep bringing him back, so he has to be doing something right. So if we can get him on the field, especially before this season ends, and just see what he has, I think that would end up being huge for us. Next up is Keyshawn Nixon. Remember at the start of the season when we were all talking about Mullen, Arnett, and Keyshawn Nixon all hanging out and giving each other props and going back and forth? That shit didn't pan out at all. But Keyshawn Nixon has been really good on special teams for us when he isn't banged up. But I really would like to see him get more involved in just the play-to-play defensive side of the ball. There's been a few situations throughout this season already where I saw Meek Robertson hit the field and I thought to myself, damn, I really wish that was Keyshawn Nixon. One of those times Nixon was not available to us, but he is now, so I'd really like to see that move being made going forward. But I do believe he is good enough on special teams to stay on this roster moving into next season. Final dude on the 53 that I want to take a look at, and I know I'm going to catch a bunch of shit for this, but it's Clee Ferrell. I have not given up on this kid yet. Only real knock you could make on this kid is that we drafted him way too high, and that is not his fault. That is the Raiders' fault and just more shitty drafting. I honestly believe this kid has breakout potential, but I do not think we're going to end up seeing it. He can play inside, he can play outside, and he has a ton of speed. I think moving on from Ferrell at the end of this season would end up being a pretty big mistake for this Raider team. Anik, Crosby, Koontz, and Ferrell are honestly a good young rotation at that defensive end position with a ton of upside behind it. Moving over to the practice squad, there was 2 guys that I'd really like to see activated onto our active roster and then just remain there for the remainder of the season and actually be given a shot on the offensive side of the ball. I really think these 2 dudes can end up making a pretty big change for us. The first one, again, is pretty obvious, but it's Trey Regis. I would love to see him come in there and get an opportunity to be Josh Jacobs' true spell. Go ahead and give Peyton Barber the day off or move him back to that number 3 and give Regis a shot at being able to take that number 2 spot at least through the end of the season, just so we know exactly what we have watching him play against first-string defenses. I seriously think that kid could end up being the spark this running game so desperately needs to get right now. The final player I have, I am really hoping this kid ends up getting activated and then does not get reverted back to the practice squad. It is Javen Wims. Derek Carr does not trust Brian Edwards, and Deshaun Jackson only runs one play. Love this kid when he played at Georgia, and I would like to see him get a legitimate shot in the NFL. I know he did some stupid shit through the offseason, but it wasn't like anything truly terrible. At 6'4", 215 with damn good hands, you have nothing to lose giving this kid an opportunity. But that's pretty much what I have for you guys tonight, man. Be sure to hit me up. Let me know your thoughts. If you can click that like button on the way out, it really does help me out. But until next time, I'm Joku, and we will catch you on the next one.